Testing, testing, test, test, test. Mic check, mic check. Am I the only one though who couldn't decide whether I should drink coffee or warm tea this morning? Good morning, world. Happy Thursday from the You Will Make It TV YouTube channel family. Today's date marks February 6th, 2026. So that's the number two and the number six a couple times there. Y'all know how I feel about numbers. But when you add two and six together, you get the number eight, and the number eight has always represented Xfinity or infinity, So I just thought that was pretty interesting. But good morning out there to you all. Uh, oh, it ain't Thursday. I'm sorry, y'all. It's Friday. See, it's still early. It's still early. But yes, February 6th, 2026. We're just here with another reactionary commentary audio segment about real stories and relatable topics. And we do these live segments weekly, okay? Until further notice, I just want to thank all my supporters and followers thus far, because no matter what platforms we had to use to keep going, what software we had to use to keep going, and even on days I had a broke phone, we were still on here doing lives. Like when I really think about it, I've come a long way as a communicator, as an open speaker, and a advocate. Because kind of trying to be an advocate and being shy is not going to work out for you. Neither is trying to be a marketer, promoter, and advertiser while being shy. It's just not going to. It is a field of work that will bring you out of that quote unquote shyness. So uh, thank you to our supporters. If you haven't already, you are invited to both like and subscribe to any one of our live segments. Also, we invite you guys to check out previously recorded segments just like these in case you missed them. All right, all right. And as you guys bear with me, I will begin to dive into this morning's relatable topic. Now, I also couldn't believe this when I seen it in the news that the president was kind of like encouraging people, because that's all you can really do is encourage people when it comes to what you are trying to tell them they can and cannot say with their own mouths. And he's encouraging people to quote unquote move on, move on from that the Epstein files. Like when he says move on, my question was, what do you mean? There's people that still haven't moved on from the O.J. Simpson case, from the Martin Luther King files, from other cases like the Jeffrey Dahmer case. Nobody told anybody to move on. People still talk about Jeffrey Dahmer and how many victims he had and how long he got away with it. And I know that's probably a terrible example to use in reference to what I mean, but yeah, to this day, people still talk about Jeffrey Dahmer. So I'm sorry, once something becomes case files, it's kind of like a piggyback on the topic I was doing the other day about the victims and survivors who are, kind of fighting for justice in another way when it comes to, privacy. Like they don't want their names and photos being all out here in the open, you know. So I guess at this point, it's safe to say that the president is like trying to do an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth type of deal. Like, oh, okay, well, we'll keep y'all names and stuff quiet. As long as y'all don't talk about the Epstein files. Like, that's crazy, bro. Do you know how many other historic cases are still talked about to this day? And you better believe that the Epstein files is going to be another one that is going to be talked about for years. That's the thing. People ain't never worried about what they do till they're worried about who's all talking about it, who all know who's involved. It's so stupid. And I really am, as an American myself, tired of seeing our very own leaders telling people to be quiet, but still trying to blame the survivors and victims who do try to tell their stories. You blame it all on them. That makes no sense. Real leadership is going to tell people to speak up, not to be quiet. I'm sorry. Now I'm just giving my opinions today. Nobody has to agree. Because even as my heart moved me to give a commentary about this, I know that the president has been arresting news anchors, radio talk hosts, sending them warnings and notices about the things they talk about. You know, and it's just like we've come too far. If you're gonna be arrested, you're gonna be arrested. But when has people ever been arrested for talking about politics on their news station, for giving their opinion? I guess they said, well, the case is too sensitive for just anybody to talk about it. I mean, parents, above all people, they should be able to talk about what's going on with the Epstein files, because a lot of the victims and survivors were children and still are children. But I'm saying some of them were children. So why would you say, why are you telling people don't talk about it? That's crazy. That's like telling people don't talk about me. They can say, okay, I won't talk about you anymore, but you don't know what people talk about in the privacy of their homes, or do they? Mm. I'm afraid that we're getting to the point where they are willing to spy in the privacy of our homes just to make sure we're not talking about them. Like, what makes these guys special? Everybody talks about whatever the hell they want to talk about in the privacy of their homes. That's how it's always been. Even when there were villages and huts and cabins people lived out of, I'm sure they still talked about what they want to talk, especially if they built their own cabin or hut. Oh my God. But what are you guys' thoughts and opinions? Because I just saw an article that said he's encouraging the country to move on from the Epstein files. I guess we're supposed to move on from the Epstein files like we moved on from the pandemic, like we moved on from every other tragedy that has ever happened in this country. It's so crazy to me. What do you mean move on? What do you mean move on? Well, I guess you could say that's what the survivors and victims were forced to do, but people really prefer that let's be honest, some of these predators prefer that the victims don't exist at all, that the survivors don't exist at all. A dream, a dreamy vision of a more beautiful time would be that we actually encourage victims and survivors to share their stories, and we protect the ones that are doing it. That's but that's just a dream though. Because right now we still have leaders that are the main ones, and now they're doing it publicly, telling people, don't talk about this, just don't bring it up. How about we all just move on from the Epstein files? Like, that is so crazy that the president himself advised this. Because when you say move on, do you mean like don't read the files, don't talk about it? Why do you think people ask for them to be released? That's crazy. Now you're saying don't just move on. Mm, mm, mm. All I was saying, in my opinion, you have no choice but to move on from certain things. But this is a fact. People still talk about Jeffrey Dahmer to this day. They talk about that case. They talk about O.J. Simpson and other big cases today. And don't you know, these are the kind of cases that they label history making. The case can be so crazy, like it makes history. Okay. Another one that I like to think about is the Salem witch trials. People still talk about that too because they were real trials where people had to come into court and defend themselves about whether they were a witch or not. Like, MAGA, please. And please go research these things. Because when you say make America great again, I'm scared they're trying to bring times like that back. I just wanted to kind of quote the Bible really quick as encouragement to anybody out here because times are getting crazy. The Bible says in the last days, a lot of people will be prosecuted for what they believe in. Straight in the Bible, use the word prosecute. So, what do you think God was talking about? Yeah, courts, police, soldiers, authority. Authority. That's the word I was looking for. Because authority is the only one who can penalize or prosecute somebody, right? But it's a lot of stuff that was just like foretold already. Like, okay, so the scripture goes on to say that many of you will be prosecuted or persecuted is the word. I'm sorry, y'all, persecuted. So, which is the same thing as prosecuted. But he said many people will be prosecuted for like standing on what they believe. Sorry guys, I had a slight distraction, but yeah, many people will be persecuted, prosecuted for what they believe. We already kind of see this happening, and people probably thought that scripture was just referencing to like direct believers of Christ that would be persecuted. You know what I mean? Now that I'm an adult, kind of like researching, study, think for myself about things. I don't think that scripture was just referring to like, oh, all Christ be believers one day are going to be persecuted and prosecuted and beheaded and dragged to court and trial. Not to say that's not happening, especially in some countries, or that can't happen, or that they might not be trying to bring these things about manifest, right? I'm just saying, let's not forget, people always talking about, oh, the Bible's man-made, it's man-written. Well, sugar, I ain't gonna say sugar, but certain artificial sugars, there's a whole lot of things that's man-made that people say nothing about every day. Like, I'm just the type of person that still doesn't understand why people use that excuse for stuff about why that's their only reason. That doesn't discredit the Bible because it was man-made. Just about everything in your home right now was man-made and you use it. You believe in it. You sit at that kitchen dinner table every night and it was made by a man. A table, a couch, a chair, anything you use is probably made by a man and nobody says anything about it every day. Actually, they give praises. They give praises like, oh, you created this. If people know that you are a do-it-yourselfer and you create things, they actually applaud you. You know what I mean? But oh, if the Bible was written by a man, everybody runs from it. It's so weird. Because I said, well, who do they think wrote every other book? Every other book in the world, some man or woman or a child. Like, come on, bro. So what make the Bible any different? I swear people will fight with you tooth and nail. I wouldn't say it was ever fun and games, but it's all fun and games until you see how far people are willing to go for what they believe, right? And that's crazy. Even if it comes down to dragging you to court, dragging you to trial. What do you think the Salem witch trials was about? It's just a period uh, we weren't probably here to experience, but just imagine those that were. Like, you could just be accused of being a witch at the drop of a hat by a person you don't even know. You just moved wrong. You moved wrong, you blinked wrong, you swept on the wrong side of your foot, You know, all those different superstition things people believe in. And if they caught you doing it back in those times where the Salem witch trials, nothing had been done about it yet. They didn't have to have no evidence. If a person just said they heard you whistling in your house past 2 a.m. and they felt like that was superstitious and you need to be looked into, this is real, y'all. Now, at one point, I was binge researching Salem trials alone, Salem witch trials. Like I was just researching it probably for like 3 months straight at one point, and it wasn't that long ago. But I do want to get back into, you know. So yeah, I put that email in the description of the chat. Y'all can always send me stuff too to help me with my topics. Nobody's doing anything for free. I know nobody's time is free or nothing like this, but when it comes to knowledge, that's not really free. Like, what's wrong with sharing it? What's wrong with sharing it amidst your peers or group of similar thinking minded people? So back to what I was saying, it does matter because when you group up and y'all all like minded, first they said that's a great thing. Great minds think alike. No, the greatest minds think totally opposite. As a matter of fact, that's my opinion. For years they've been saying great minds think alike. No, great minds also think opposite. I feel so dark when I think of like opposite quotes from quotes that have been around for like millenniums. But it is true. If you start dating somebody that's just like you, y'all gonna get tired of each other faster. That might be the thing that makes y'all click and maybe like each other. Speaking of Valentine's Day, but if y'all are not opposite nowhere, it's just I don't know. Maybe we're all different. Maybe some people love to be just like their significant other. Like they want to match every day. They want to talk the same. They want to follow this person everywhere they go. I actually had started looking at that a long time ago. Like not just in my life, like scientists think they be studying us. I've been studying things about this world people probably don't even care about. I say, why are people like this? Like they say be yourself, but you want to be just like your partner. I ain't saying nothing wrong with that. It's just weird. Like, be yourself, even with that person. If they can't accept who you truly are, that's why people are having identity crisis. Even if nobody's stealing their identity. It's like it's stolen if you don't know who you are, right? It's crazy, man. Uh Now y'all don't have to share the same religion and like the same food and want everything just the same. That's why I'm saying great minds can think different, not just alike. Both of their inputs always seem to make a difference, but both of their inputs might be different. You see what I'm saying? It's when we keep it like, oh, this the one way. You can tell that that's holding on by a thread and a string anyway, like keeping everybody on a one-minded track. If that was working so well, what's wrong with everybody? No, people can be open-minded. We can trust people to be more open-minded as well. See, we only be knowing one version or side of people. When they're closed-minded, it's just easier to call a person closed-minded. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see how it's making the world better. But that's what I'm about. Like, of course, I'm only one person. You talking about the whole world? Like, it's some places in the world I wouldn't even go. Like the Amazon jungle, certain places out there I wouldn't even want to visit. I don't want to fly over it. Nothing. You know. I'm trying to stay on topic here, guys. But before Mr. Trump was the president, the same Bible that they say, oh, it's man made, so we shouldn't really care what it says. Like every other book wasn't written by a human. Every other book in the store, every other book, everywhere you go, it's gonna have an author name right there. Okay, so boom, a person wrote it. That's what I was explaining to. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm trying to raise my own children like strictly religious, and it probably shows in my life. that I had made that choice. I didn't say I was right or wrong, but it ain't nothing I ever felt like I was hiding. Like, oh, I'm gonna force y'all. We gonna be strictly in the Bible and the Word, and not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I believe in people finding their identities, them being, because you can try to teach a person who they is too. That's another thing. They gonna become who the hell they want to. We grow into our personalities, our identities. Y'all gonna see how this matters in 1 second. Because the Bible had already said that in the last days, we're not saying these is the last days. We're just looking at a few correlations. People were going to be persecuted and prosecuted for what they believe. I just stay quiet, but I've been just watching. But they watching us. Like, come on, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with everybody watching everything. But make sure use your eyes like God gave us eyes, right? We can look at anything we want to look at. It's so stupid. That's what people mean when they like watch what you direct your focus on. Like, if somebody's studying something, I suppose that's their business. But depending on what you focus on too much, that's just what don't they say we take in what we indulge? Come on, bro. You might start to embody certain things or move different after certain pieces of knowledge. It is what it is. You learn your ABCs, that change you. You ain't even learn how to read yet. Just learning the letters, you become different. Like this is what knowledge does. It's just what it does. When you're really obtaining it. So they're dragging people in there. I've been noticing they're doing it. He didn't say that exactly what the Bible do not say. Whether they want to say it's man-made or not. Okay, it does say this. It didn't say what people's penalties would be. But persecuted is in there. And many people in the Bible were that. They were persecuted. Sometimes unto the death. Just for what they believe. But people say they love the movie 300. Now, I might watch that today. It's the weekend too. It's a great time. It's Black History Month. It's just a great movie. It has probably nothing to do with black people, and that's the thing. Spartans probably did have some black people in their army. We don't know. It's people probably do have the information. They ain't told us yet. But anyways, people go off of how a movie is portrayed, an image, and they always want to erase that part out of topics. Like straight up, if you're not trying to control the image, why certain movies is only certain predominant races in the movie? You know what I mean? Especially when it's like culturalistic type, history type movies. Like they like, oh, it don't matter. They're just actors. People tired of hearing it. We're tired of hearing it. Like, make it make sense, bro. That's why I like Mel Gibson. He did a great job. Y'all know I talk about Mel Gibson a lot ever since I started podcasting. Him, Stephen King, people like that, because I always was a fan, but really have a little bit of probably him in me too. So it's inspiring in a whole nother way. But Mel Gibson definitely he done did alien movies. He's done religious movies. He what are we talking about? What people believe? Why do people believe things? That's what they believe the truth is to them. That's what they believe in. That's what they stand on. So that's what they end up talking about. Or else you just saying everything everybody else saying. We probably all made that mistake a time or two in life. You just end up saying what everybody else saying. Like, did you research the moon for yourself? You just saying what everybody else saying. Uh, Stuff like that. And it said people were gonna be being persecuted for what they believe. Now, some are going to teach it that it said it would be they would be persecuted for believing in Jesus specifically. But I'll let you guys, if you're interested, if I convince you, go research it for yourself. It is quite intriguing. Just for what you believe. If you ask me, y'all go look it up and tell me what it say in there. It's a scripture and it talks about the end times. Okay. So uh I guess this time just gonna come where like everybody what they believe they being drugged in court because they not gonna full blown say that like, oh, it's because of what you believe. This why we doing it. Why don't they just come out and say that with people lives? They believe in the Epstein files, so we want to penalize them. Like, no, bro, people are not just gonna sit back and let you do that. I mean, not at least without having a voice or something. Now, do you got a problem with what people believe? I'm not talking about Mr. Trump. A lot of people, because 9 times out of 10, how what you believe reflects anyway. What you believe was never just what you say out your mouth. That's why you think they want to drag people to court. So people are saying stuff out their mouth. What you believe is like showing through your life. Last I checked. So, like I said, I might be one of those parents like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't go force religion on my kids. Like, I want to experience that. You growing into your own personality, identity, choosing what is best for your life. That's love, too. That ain't $1 million. That's love. You guiding that person into finding their own identity. And we know that's tough when you're a kid already. Now, I'm not trying to talk people out of religion. It's just not something you want to, you can still guide. That's what I learned. You can still guide and try to lead somebody the right way. You can actually trigger them wrong, trying to make it like, hey, all my parenting rules is because I'm religious. Your child will challenge you. They can. Like, well, they might get to an age they have questions. Like, well, why does our religion say that I can't do this and that? My friends doing this and that. You know how it is. And the leaders do need to understand we have babies out here. We've been having babies out here. That's another thing. You know what I mean? Uh, that's a whole major point here. Because if you trying to hurry up and rush in and shape what they believe at early ages, but now the parents can't say, so what kind of stuff is that? What do you want them to see? Because they're seeing society right now too, and they will be the future, right? They are the future. I had said that quite a while back anyway. I was like, they should let more youth. A lot of youth do still speak, because I was in those type of programs where you can travel and speak and stuff. In school, it depends on what you're in, what kind of club you're in, and you can have a voice out here. Young people, you guys too. Yes, you sure can. That's what y'all need to be telling the young people. Don't worry about what people telling people, kids in their homes. Home ain't home where it start and where they supposed to. That's automatic territory, automatic grounds for you to be teaching those minors. Yeah, at home first before they step out their front door every day. At home, they be like, at home is where it starts. Okay, but everybody wants to be in everybody's home privacy now. Like what? What? Anyways, man, and like, yeah, I think everybody should just let talking about this and talking about that go. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Ain't that a little bit like infringing on what somebody believes? Like that's crazy. They just talking about it. And yes, sometimes in their homes, sometimes at the park, at the local park. I mean, it's politics. Like they might talk about it at work or some jobs though, some employers would be like, don't talk. It depends on where you work. Like try to keep it about business to job. Like don't be in there because some people can't even handle. People are very passionate in what they believe, and they like, well, I believe in MAGA, so I should get okay, okay. Just as firm as you believe in it, there are people that have their own beliefs. That's just what it is. This is modern day today. Yeah, end of the sentence. This today though. And we're talking about what people believe and how beliefs change too. Why do beliefs change sometimes? God know how to change people's beliefs too. Cause like what you experience versus what you're taught is also another thing. Like the teacher told you when you mix purple and red together, you're gonna get brown. But when you mixed it, you got black. So you come back to school. Miss Davis, it had turned this color. Now I was just giving an example, but there have been times though. It's just funny to talk about where I brought stuff back to school on the teacher because I was just a little nerd like that. Like one time the teacher was like, no, I actually never heard of this. I ain't gonna say what it was. It don't even matter. But I was like in fourth grade, I remember. It's just a great memory. And she actually was saying thank you. Like it was just a time where young people being heard, it did exist. Or maybe they were listening. Because if you're talking to your teacher by yourself, all right, you like, hey, I want to show you something after class. We get together after class. Like, look what I looked up. Did you? What about this? Why don't you teach this? I didn't know it don't work like that. Like they have to teach a curriculum, like a certain what they're being told, like what's on the books. And I was like, maybe we should, you know what I'm saying? Talk about this in tomorrow. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. It was Black History Month, okay? And it was a predominantly like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, it was like a predominantly, it was kind of like one of those schools where it was only like 10 black people in the whole school in a K through 5 school. I've already like survived environments like that, bro. I hate to say the word survive, but yeah, when you're a kid, like K through 5, like you already have to be strong and kind of know something about yourself because you're only number 10 in the school of black people, period. It was never a problem. I'm just saying. So I had came to school with a little, I guess I had wrote it down and everything. Like, yeah, why don't we talk? I didn't know that they have to teach kind of like the curriculum. They have to stay stick to the books and what they're being taught to teach the kids every 6 weeks. I didn't know all of that really like that yet, but uh, I was just like, why don't we teach this tomorrow? I'm trying to help her. Like, bro, we're only talking about Martin Luther King, uh, Rosa Parks. I can laugh about it because I know I come from a genuine place. Like I can just laugh about it. But the teacher, I think it was about Jim Crow laws. I said I wasn't gonna say what it was, but she actually had told me she had never heard of that before, and I didn't even judge her. I was just a kid. Like we was learning together, and that's how it should be. You can learn from a child. That's what I'm talking about. Not just listen to a child. I said the word learn. Like they can show you something that you didn't see before. They can you like, what child? I've been here longer than you. They done showed you something on the internet. You didn't even know they had that. They done showed you a new gaming system or something new going on out here. And I'm one of the older ones. I don't mind like giving young people their credit and I don't know. I just understand that a little different. The day that we see more of them having a voice, and I was saying that before I had even went through certain trials and tribulations in my life. God is my witness. I was already one of those main people out here saying that, yeah, youth and kids, they should get, I didn't say like a say so or control things, but definitely be more speaking up and us allowing them, you know what I'm saying, that same leverage and leeway. You notice kids can't vote, right? VOTE. Why not? It's just a fun question. Start them voting at about 13. Because these kids do have minds and opinion. Even if you think, My kid quiet. I keep my kid in check. So you saying your kid don't have feelings about the world around them today? Just because you keep them quiet and in check, don't mean they don't have personal feel. Like, what is it like to be them though? Today, can't nobody speak on that but them. So, yes, the when people say that about uh, the Bible is man-made, I'm like, yeah, each book has an author. Each book in this text, like sometimes anthologies, poetry collections, some literary works are published together, and it's different authors that wrote out the book. The Bible was not the it was the first book to have gotten certain books together like that, yes. But there were other books that have like a combined, joined set of stories or something like written by different authors. So, okay. I'm just saying, it said in there that people are going to be persecuted for what they believe, not for their identity, not because they're immigrants, not because they are LGBTQ, not because they're a woman, not because they're low income and receive SNAP and EBT. No, the Bible said they're going to be persecuted for what they believe, not none of that other stuff. Mm, that at the end of the day. So yeah, I agree with people. You don't get too consumed with the news and stories. I guess like the president is saying, because some people get, if you're more caught up on that, then I don't know. I guess that's good advice. Like you don't want to just get so overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying with the news. Like I do feel the president on that. I guess I totally get where he's coming from. Like, but you can never just tell people to move on from some case or some because come on man, it's survivors and victims and stuff like that involved, and they some of them are minors. You can't just tell people to forget about it and move on. Shout out to you guys in the chat. Thank you for your support this morning. uh yeah, you can't tell the people to just move on from certain news, certain grievances. I knew I wasn't tripping. Even if Mr. Trump is just bold enough to say what others thought anyway, sometimes about certain matters. Like you might not hear other people walking around saying, "Oh, just get over the Epstein file. Stop talking about it." But that man will. You feel what I'm saying? Like he does seem to be that type of person. Like he'll just say what people, some that feel like him, or with with Black History Month, for example, it's still people that walk around here talking about get over it. It was slavery, it was history, it was this and that, and trials and tribulations a nation of people had to endure and overcome just to just to just to function with everybody else like they do in America today. Just to have the same rights and equalities is what I mean. So us, a lot of us, I don't even like to say us all the time because some of us are like other stuff too, like indigenous, we might be Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Indian, different nations and stuff going on. But all I was saying is with us, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, we just choose to remain silent too because we know how far we had to come, no matter who tell you. Get over it, move on, don't talk about it no more. Quit dreaming, daydreaming about reparations. There's been outside of reparations, there's been just know there's been all kind of other just networks and organizations out here helping people. if they really want to change their lives and not wait on repair. Even if you change your life, you make life changing money. If you're owed reparations, you're owed reparations. That's why I don't get too deep in that talk too much with people when it comes to what I believe. But waiting on anything, just like money from a certain place, just because it's a head and like, oh, I'm owed this, I'm due for like damages and stuff. It don't. I don't. I think people just not used to that. Really, like they see everybody that see a window of opportunity for money run over there and scatter their feet. They don't see them study the situation, study the perimeter, add up the area, 5 times 10, length times width. They just see people run over there and try to when money is involved. You're like, what? Um, it's just crazy, man. But yeah, I just feel like our leaders can do better. Don't just tell people to move on. Like some of us haven't moved on from the pandemic. We're still trying to get ourselves together from that bull crap that came out of nowhere. You know what we should do though, as a collective? Like everybody should go back to what they were doing right before the pandemic. How were their lives right before it happened? Because a lot of us was in the middle of huge life-changing things, like doing it on our own, not waiting on the reparations. I can speak for black people about that, but I'm black. Everybody should go get a journal and write down when they get some free time what they were doing, because that's history changing. Even if you don't share it with nobody else, they call it like a time capsule, put it in a bottle and just throw it out there in the ocean, in the river somewhere, for real, and write down what you were doing. You don't have to put your name on it if you're going to do it like that, but make sure you put the year this went down. What they mean, move on. Like, what were people doing when the news came on and said, oh my God, deadly virus, pandemic, COVID 19 spreading everywhere? What were you doing? Were you in school? Did you have a good job? Were you outside with your kids? What were you doing when the COVID-19 pandemic happened? I might have to start some interviews asking people for real. I know that'll blow up, even though it's 6 years later. Literally, it's literally 6 years later. I can't make this up. It's the new year of 2026. So there are some people still getting there. They ain't got to be ashamed about that. If the COVID-19 natural disaster affected your life and you lost loved ones, no, you don't have to just move on. Of course, you have no choice but to do that, but you can talk about it all you want to. This is what I believe, but people are being penalized for what they believe. Now, the other stuff, I can't speak for people. If you took PPP loans or code, there was a lot of assistance. It was a natural disaster, but some people lost things and people that they can never get back. That's what happens during natural disasters. People moved on from Hurricane Katrina, but uh, they had no choice. If you're a survivor, you're a survivor. But it's like no respect towards what people have been through, endured, sharing and spreading awareness with other people, right? Because like we probably haven't seen some like Hurricane Katrina, not in this. We probably haven't seen them like that in a while. Just like how bad it was, or like something like that. But we're talking about natural disasters and how they affect people's lives, and how people try to put a label on what's considered a natural disaster or not. Natural disasters are not just weather related, as the COVID 19 pandemic should have shown a lot of us. You understand? Like, come on, bro. It don't have to be like a flood or a hurricane storm for a national disaster to be declared. That's what I'm starting to see. Now, if it's like some kind of medical emergency and people are dying, come on now, that's a natural disaster. And I feel like there could be economic ones too. It could be a natural disaster with a lot of stuff. If we have a shock to our internet systems, electricity systems, stuff like that, and it's going on for too long, they can be easily declared a natural disaster. I'm just saying, do people be behind the scenes surviving natural disasters? Uh, the ones that ain't even declared on the news. This just their life. Like, where's the law book where you go sign up when you experiencing a natural disaster in your very own life? Like, just you, not a mass group of people. But because there's like labels, I guess the closest thing they have to it, like I said, once upon a time, you had programs and organizations that help people, or you could go apply for different type of assistance when you're going through a natural disaster that might be a little more personal instead of on a nationwide level. You feel me? You can personally have a natural disaster too. Like you have a flood in your house, but it don't happen at all the neighbor's house. How is that not a natural disaster? Now all your stuff messed up. Like, and how did the flood happen? Was it the toilet? Like, was it the dishwasher? Like, so I'm just was trying to give an example how you can have a natural disaster too, but there's no logbook. Like, hey, where do I sign up? I'm over here drowning, type of deal. I'm over here swimming through big floods and tides and waves. Uh, I've been surviving in a life jacket for like 2 years, just floating out here in the sea. And they like, well, your whole city wasn't going through it, so you must have not been having a natural disaster. Like it shouldn't be like that. Where is the logbook? Like I said, you can even make a digital one where people can say, hey, I'm going through a natural disaster, like something that should be considered out of the ordinary or something like that. Like where do people sign up? Them kind of people should be probably moved, I don't know, moved out the way or something, just like you do. We know natural disasters displace people and they be having to move if you have a flood or hurricane, but people just be wanting you to have natural disasters in your personal life, like back to back natural disasters that the whole nation ain't going through, that the whole city ain't going through. And God, in my opinion, He sees stuff like that. That's why it could seemingly appear that after a trial, somebody go through something for 6 months, then it seemed like a whole state turned around. It was more damage. Like, was it even worth investing the money to mess with that one person and what they believed in and what they said and what you thought about them? Uh, and whatever natural disasters that you felt like they deserve to go through, because I don't feel like all natural disasters. That's the thing about a natural disaster. It's not man-made. And then that's the thing. Some are, but they only want that to be factual with facts, with receipts. But we know that some of these natural disasters are caused by man hands. Like we passed the level of talking about the Bible was man made. Natural disasters, they got technology and stuff that some of these disasters are caused by people, by crime, like stuff that's totally kind of avoidable. How is that not a man-made when somebody just go decide to do stupid stuff? Like you could say, "Oh, that's them. They self-sabotaging," but yeah, one person's choice can always affect a lot of people. So when you narrow it down one by one, okay, you affected 10,000. You could have affected five. You affected five. So now I think God be looking at that like, oh, okay, you touch my five, I'm gonna touch 5,000. And they can keep going. They can keep going. Like, oh, they're witches. Oh, okay. So now we're going back to the Salem witch days. No, that makes a lot of sense. Why would you want to see just five people walking along enduring natural disasters every day of their life? Every time you turn around, that person got a natural disaster going on. Like, natural disaster is usually declared an emergency. So nobody's just walking around with an emergency every second. I don't care. I don't care what nobody say. Like that's weird. Emergency, that's a whole nother level of uh circumstance. We all got circumstances, problems, a problem or two here or there, but just like straight up emergencies back to back. Even if you're a country, that's weird. So that would make the country say, "Yeah, she right." Like, do we be fair? Like, one group of people go through something, then we got to turn around and see a larger group or a larger scale of something be affected because you want to touch this one small group. And they'd be like, "Yeah, I don't see God. He ain't real." You see that? You know what I'm saying? This one person could have went through a man-made disaster where they was laid off. That's something that's avoidable. You let the person keep their job. Come on, bro. How is that not man-made? That's a man-made disaster. All the boss had to do is let you keep working. Now you got a whole disasters going on. You can't afford your mortgage. You can't afford your insurance no more. You laid off. Now you're looking for another Fortune 500 company that'll take your resume. That might take 6 more weeks. Now you done fell behind on the car note, and you might can use your credit cards. Those are man-made disasters, if you ask me, and more of them should be looked into. These natural disasters, boy, they be passing out stimulus checks, make sure people have everything they need. Because when something is like declared state of emergency, this is the kind of mode people go into. They start trying to send water bottles, food, diapers, and toothbrushes and stuff for the people. This is serious. This ain't about a person begging or using people or having. That's not the case with everybody. No, the case is if there's a natural disaster going on in a person's life or in a group of people's life or one person's life, a natural disaster is a natural disaster, a state of emergency. And everybody can't pull that Uno card. When something is an emergency, you can always tangibly see that usually. Period. How you gonna cover up an emergency? Like throw a blanket on it? Like they find all that type of stuff. It might take them years. Some things even go cold cases, but you can't cover up no emergency, bro. A whole emergency with a flashing red light, with the flare guns, with the SOS sign, like big, a 500-foot SOS sign. You trying to like, come on, bro. So, anyways, it just seemed like the world would be like a little bit better if, yeah, that part. We're giving people the freedom of beliefs, but if you still on the sidelines trying to taint a person's belief, is that really freedom? Is that really freedom of belief? Is that really freedom of faith? Is that really freedom of religion? They want to reconstruct the Constitution probably because the Constitution, the way it is right now, if it's just upheld in the highest honor, people actually would walk around. You wouldn't have to have no lot of money to have respect. You just you're abiding by the regulations of the Constitution, freedom of religion. And like, let's talk about what that means at the end of the day. Freedom of religion is freedom of what you believe. How is that not such? Okay, what you believe, you might express that through how you dress, through how you speak, uh, through how you communicate. I don't know. Like, what you believe is usually tangibly shown. There's no way you can say, "Oh, I believe in the Cowboys," but somebody see you with a Bulls jersey on every day. So we wouldn't just say, "Oh, that person actions don't line up." Like, who's still saying it? Okay, obviously they told us they believe in the Cowboys, but we see them with a Bulls jersey on every day. So I don't need to wonder what that person believes. I see what they want because that's a whole nother way people express what they believe. But you believe in the Cowboys. But you got Bulls on every time I see you. You got the Bulls jacket, Bulls beanie, Bulls snapback, Bulls, 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 Chicago Bulls, and everything. I'm not gonna waste my time and be like, oh, but you said you believe in the Cowboys. Like, what is you doing? Let that person believe what they want to believe. That's my point. Like, it's called freedom of religion. A person who know their constitutional rights and they feel like that's what they've been standing by, you don't manipulate them with that. It's weird. Like, how you gonna manipulate? And they try to bring back old books, all kind of old books, to refute people's whole liberty, whole right to freedom of religion, freedom of belief. So, what do you guys think? Do you think one day that they might actually end up tweaking or changing that in the Constitution, freedom of religion? It makes us go back to why it was added in the first place. Because you don't want to hear the gruesome stories about the Salem witch trials. I mean, especially then they had this whole thing with like women were more accused of these practices, but it was not to say that there wasn't a few men they also penalized, which I thought was very interesting. Um, it's just a practice that I think the same thing I say today, that it gets in the wrong hands, certain type of knowledge, just reckless hands, immature hands, people, people, people who just didn't need that knowledge, like, and I think it was more like a scare to the country at that time, or in the Salem witch trial days, like, what do we do about this? You know what I mean? Like, we got all these different people, some saying they're doing witchcraft, some really are, because they had these Renaissance periods and eras, I mean, where people were like certain things were just really popular. That happens like every generation. You know what I mean? So it's just a time to be alive to kind of see that repopularize itself. Like, people, if you ask me, they are practicing freedom of religion more than ever. They are definitely using that constitutional right as well as many others. Because freedom of religion is not just walking around being some type of religious freak. What do you mean? That's like the freedom to explore and believe, that word, Believe, what you please. And look, you do have the right to remain silent about what you believe too. They want to just tell you that when something else is going on. No, I don't just have the right to remain silent. When you tell me that, I have the right to remain silent. That's the point. Every day of my life, if I want to, especially about what I believe, that would be a sign of you protecting what you believe. You believe it that much. That's crazy. Like, people just not used to seeing people stand on what they believe, if you ask me. And they trying to even change laws about it. It's crazy. Like, because if we change your freedom to religion, if we find some example where somebody to make a spectacle out of about their faith and about their, when the whole time religion had nothing to do with just that. It would have a lot to do with what you believe, don't it? Whatever you believe in, you practice religiously. The last I checked, you know, if you believe a beer helps take the edge off, you're gonna drink a beer. I'm just saying, like, how you gonna just come in and twist and turn how people are able to express themselves? Because we know the age of social media and the internet is, people stream and blog more than ever now. If they want to talk about the Epstein files, I just see that coming. They probably just gonna start censoring everybody that talk about it. It's just weird. Like, yeah, we released the files, but dot dot dot. Don't be out here talking about like what? The only ones I'm not redacting what I said the other day. The only ones, in my opinion, who do deserve the right to say who talks about what involving their names, photos, and videos are the victims and the survivors. But that's just my opinion. They should have first dibs on being able to say that, not just leaders because they have power. Thank you guys for tuning in to another live segment here with you on Mickey TV, where we speak on insightful and relatable stories and topics weekly. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll be back soon with another topic.